Sarah Sheridan once said, "The 1950s is a key decade in the 20th century. Each year has a distinct flavor." Before the 1950s, furniture and houses were built very elaborately. However, with the help of daring interior designers, the 1950s took a giant leap towards the future in modern design. Over the course of a semester, I have studied the 1950s design techniques as well as the 1950s as a whole. Looking back at the 1950s, we can see how much of an impact the designs introduced have on our lives today. Throughout this speech, I plan to inform you of the interior design techniques and materials of the 1950s and how they affected the future. Simplicity of the 1950s branches off of German Bauhaus principles and Scandinavian influence. The Bauhaus School of Architecture from Germany was closed by the Nazis during World War II. When this happened, most of the professors from this school came to the United States to teach the Americans their ways. Interior design frontrunners of the 1950s were Herman Miller and Company, George Nelson, and Knoll Associates. Kitsch, which was a German idiom for trash, meant in the 1950s was the Americans' middle class art form. During the 1950s, ball clocks, odd lamps, gollywogs, knickknacks, marshmallow sofas, and fabrics and wallpapers were all examples of kitsch. New technologies introduced because of World War II, which included melamine and plywood laminates, gave Herman Miller and Company and Knoll Associates the perfect examples to start their simple designs. They intentionally gave each piece of their furniture an impersonal effect, which made them ideal for offices. Honest design was also proposed, where plastic looked like plastic and all other materials used were said to be what they were. Lack of space in new American homes brought simple design. The Womb chair in 1948 evolved into George Nelson's pedestal tables and chairs, which were icons of this simple design. The marshmallow sofa was also an icon of a simple design. This sofa was designed by George Nelson. This sofa included 18 circular pillows resembling marshmallows that were attached to the back and seat by a curved frame. Knickknacks during the 1950s, as seen in homes, were often large and bright pastel colors. They were seen in candle holders, ashtrays, and wall masks. Gollywogs were planters made of hand-painted aluminum that sat on top of a cast iron base. These planters were also often seen in homes and represented bodies and faces. Lamps during the 1950s were also very futuristic and edgy. These lamps included ladies' legs lamps, bubble lamps, and Sputnik lamps, which resembled the space satellite of Russia. All clocks were yet another icon during the 1950s. These were designed in all shapes and sizes. Some of these shapes included boomerangs, balls, and molecules. These were made famous by George Nelson and Company. The future. For many, this is a frightening idea. No one on earth knows what is to come, and for many, this is a blank state of eventualities. By showing how design techniques of the 1950s affect us today, I showed that history is just as important as the future. These interior design techniques, new materials, and effects they have on the future all impacted the future for the better.